Well, today we see the next go at hotel quarantine. Victorians are relying on the government to get it right this time, because we know what happens when the government makes a mess of hotel quarantine. We all get locked down. We cannot afford to see our small businesses shut again. We can't afford to see kids taken out of school again. We can't afford to see Victoria locked down again. So the onus is on the government to get it right this time, and I hope they do. I hope they've learnt the lessons from the failures of the past. But already today we see reports that you've got medical officials operating across different quarantine hotels. This says that the government hasn't learned from the mistakes of the past. It tells us that Victorians have got every reason to be worried that the government hasn't got it right. Well, they need to get it right. Victorians have gone through too much. We've suffered too much. We've lost too many jobs. Too many small businesses have closed. Too many people have lost time with family and friends. We can't afford lockdowns, so the government has to get it right this time. In relation to booze buses, it's a real worry from a road safety point of view to see that the fleet of booze buses are now off the road. We've been drawing attention to problems with booze buses for months now. The government kept assuring us that everything's fine, everything's okay. Well, buses catching fire isn't fine. Buses catching fire isn't okay. The government needs to work out what on hell has gone wrong with this, because we need those booze buses out on the roads. We need a deterrent from drink driving. We need to keep Victorians safe on the roads. This has been an ongoing problem. The government's been trying to sweep it under the carpet. It's pretty hard to sweep a burning booze bus under the carpet though, and now they're all off the road. Final thing I'll mention before handing on to Georgie is just about international students. We identified back in November last year that Victoria needs a plan to bring back international students to Victoria. Education is our biggest export market. It's our biggest export market. It props up a lot of local businesses, food businesses, accommodation. They all rely on international students. And the government doesn't even have a plan for bringing those students back. Well, we called for a plan last year. The government has been sitting on its hands. It's time for the government to act now. Education is our biggest export earner as a state. We need to get those international students back safely, not at the expense of Victorians, but in addition to Victorians. Get them back here, get them spending their money here, keeping our economy going and keeping people in work. Now I'd like to ask Georgie Crozier to make a few comments, and I'm happy to come back and take questions.
Thanks, Michael. And just following on from Michael, a hotel quarantine recommences today, and you've got to wonder what the government has been doing, what the Andrews government has been doing, when less than half of hotel quarantine staff have been fully vaccinated. That is not going to instill confidence in the system, where we need these hotel quarantine staff to be fully vaccinated so that they can be a barrier, that they can be part of that barrier and part of the protection that we all want and all need for when these return travellers are coming back into Melbourne. Really concerning that the Andrews government has had weeks and weeks and weeks to get this right, and yet they've sat on their hands and less than half of the hotel quarantine workers have been fully vaccinated. I don't think that gives a lot of confidence. There are really concerning signs around what is going on, and I just hope, like every Victorian hopes, that we can get this program right, that these mistakes and these issues are resolved sooner than later.